The Samsung Galaxy S25 Edge is truly a first of its kind, paving the way for future super slim phones. However, to achieve that incredibly thin profile, it comes with quite a few trade-offs that its brother, the Galaxy S25 Plus, simply doesn't have. But are these differences significant enough to just write off the S25 Edge? We don't think so. We'll take a deep dive into the design, display, performance, cameras, and battery of both these Samsungs so you can see it for yourself. Hey, I'm Olive, your host here at Versus.com. Visually, they're pretty similar, though the S25 Edge has this camera island, while the S25 Plus has a cleaner look. But when we put them side by side, that's when you can really see how incredibly thin the S25 Edge is. And let me tell you, that feeling in the hand is also super comfortable. As for materials, we find a titanium frame for the Edge, while the Plus uses aluminium. On the back, however, both sport Corning Gorilla Glass Victus 2. In terms of weight, the Edge is a true lightweight at only 163 grams. Pretty much the same as the base S25. Meanwhile, the Plus is heavier at 189 grams. Both phones come with IP68 dust and water protection, which means they're submersible at up to 1.5 meters for 30 minutes, which is pretty good, but probably not good enough for Jules Verne. So as always, let's check in with the team and see who likes which design the most.
The Edge.
The Edge.
The Edge.
The Plus.
The Plus. What about you?
I'm also gonna go for the Plus. But now let's check out these displays. Both of these phones come with identical displays. We're talking a flat 6.7-inch LTPO AMOLED screen with up to 120Hz support. We simulated sunlight at over 100,000 lux and measured how bright the screen typically gets using a full white screen. The Edge reached an impressive 1,646 nits, while the Plus hit a visually identical 1,631 nits, both being plenty bright for even the harshest summer sun. As for security, both come equipped with under-display ultrasonic fingerprint scanners. Now, for even more info on screen specs, including our measured peak brightness, feel free to pause the video right here. So as you can see, there are literally no compromises in this department. Both phones offer extremely bright panels that perform amazingly in all kinds of environments. The only real shortcoming is the lack of Dolby Vision format support. But then again, not even Samsung's own TVs support that format. But what about speakers? Well, let's check them out next. Both phones come with stereo speakers, with one at the bottom and the other doubling as the earpiece. Here's an audio sample for you. As you just heard, both sound pretty similar, delivering good volume levels and decent bass. However, the Plus does have a bit of a rattle when you push the volume all the way to the max, so the Edge has a slight edge in clarity at peak volumes. But now, let's check out those cameras. Here, the Edge comes packing a massive 200-megapixel camera borrowed straight from the S25 Ultra, while the Plus uses a 50-megapixel shooter. For outdoor shots, while colors look pretty much identical on both phones, the Edge delivers a crisper shot thanks to that bigger sensor. The Plus, on the other hand, shows a bit more of that post-processing sharpening. In indoor shots, we have to say it's pretty much the same story, as both photos look visually identical. It's only when you zoom in really close that you can start to see some differences in detail levels. For the ultra-wide camera, both phones share identical 12-megapixel modules. And just like the photos from the main camera, these ultra-wide shots do look identical, but this time even at detail levels. We do have to point out though that the exposure is a bit high on both. Same goes for indoor shots. The exposure can be a bit high, and those curtains in the back get a purple tint even though they're gray in real life. But overall, the quality is still great. Switching modes to portrait with the main camera, we can see Samsung significantly improved the edge detection across the S25 lineup, as both phones are able to detect edges pretty well now. However, only the Plus lets you shoot portraits with the telephoto lens, as it's the only one that actually has a dedicated zoom lens. The Edge had to trade that telephoto for its super slim shape. As a note, the Edge also only lets you zoom to 2x digital zoom in this mode. Shifting gears to video with the main camera, both phones are capable capable of filming at up to 8K 30 FPS, but as always, for our comparisons, we do stick to 4K 30 FPS. I'm sure I sound like a broken record by now, but there are basically no differences between these videos, with both phones doing a really good job. However, both phones catch some lens reflections in certain lighting, but nothing super critical. Switching to the ultra-wide cameras, both Galaxies can output 4K 60 FPS video, but as before, we always film our samples in 4K 30 FPS for consistency. And yeah, no differences here either, which is actually a good thing in reality, so you know you're getting the same great quality video from either phone you choose to pick. In portrait video, once again, we get identical videos. We still think the iPhone or Vivo are generally the best when it comes to portrait video, but Samsung honestly doesn't get left far behind. Turning these phones 180 degrees, we find once again identical 12 megapixel cameras at the front. And yup, you're getting the same kind of photos from either of them. Not like the wild, inconsistent results we got from this year's Nothing lineup. If you want to take a look at that mess, tap the link there in the corner. In low light shots, both Galaxies do pretty good once again, though as you can see, there's some face smoothing going on, even though we turned all face filters off. For video with these front cams, you can get a maximum resolution of 4K 60 FPS, but you know it already, all our videos are recorded at 4K 30 FPS. You'll be happy to hear that both phones come with autofocus on the front camera, so if you're planning on vlogging with them, you'll be more than safe. Both also offering a pretty good dynamic range for your clips. So let's test out the audio on both of these devices. We're gonna start off over here with the S25 Edge. How do I sound? I'm on a relatively calm street. There are a few cars going around, so how's it handling that? And then let's move on to the S25 Plus. Is it any better than the Edge? What do you guys think? But as always, let's talk about it. As you've heard, both are, for the millionth time, pretty much identical. Both do a good job controlling the city noises in the background in a busy scene. Now let's move on to zoom, and here's where the S25 Edge had to make a real sacrifice to achieve that super slim shape. So only the S25 Plus comes with a dedicated zoom lens, this being a 10 megapixel camera with 3 times optical zoom. Here you have a shot with the optical zoom lens on the Plus and a shot at 3 times digital zoom on the Edge. And to be fair, the difference is surprisingly not that huge. At 10 times digital zoom on both, it's actually interesting to see that once again, photos are quite similar, even though the Plus comes with a dedicated zoom lens. 10 times zoom is also the furthest the Edge can go, whereas the Plus can push it to 30 times zoom, so if you're really interested in taking photos at deep zoom levels, the Plus should definitely be the one to pick. Now let's switch the lights off and check out some low light examples. In photos with the main camera in these dark conditions, we have to say both photos look identical, even if in daylight the Edge had a bit more detail. With the ultra-wide camera, strangely, the Edge has a lot more noise compared to the Plus, and just like before, both made the curtains look purple instead of gray. For portrait mode in low light, we do have differences, as the Plus definitely smoothens my skin, whereas the Edge has a more natural look. However, both failed to correctly blur this spot right here. As for video with the main lens, we go back to both phones looking pretty much identical. And while they could do a better job with that bright lamp in the back, overall quality is good. Videos with the ultra-wide camera definitely look a bit more rough compared to the ones with the main camera. But to be fair, that's mostly expected, as both have smaller sensors here. So as you can see, you're getting pretty much identical results from either phone in most camera aspects. There are some subtle differences, like a bit more natural sharpness with the main camera on the Edge, and while this one also lacks a dedicated zoom lens, the difference in quality in zoomed photos isn't really significant for most everyday use. But with that out of the way, let's check out the performance on these guys. Inside both of these Galaxies, we can find Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy chipsets. Both phones also come with 12 gigabytes of RAM, while as for storage, both are only available in either 256 or 512 gigabyte configurations. But to really see what these phones can do, we'll throw them into some real-world testing, starting with gaming. We'll run 30-minute sessions with cooldown time in between. First up, Grid Legends. We tweak the settings file to unlock 60 FPS in graphics mode, since it is capped at 40 by default. default. Both phones reached a maximum of 51 FPS, but after some gameplay, the Plus dropped significantly to only 20 FPS. That said, both reached the exact same temperature of 50 degrees Celsius. Next, we launched Wuthering Waves and cranked the graphics all the way up. Once again, both started at identical maximum FPS, but this time the Edge was the one that struggled the most, dropping to 43 FPS. And once again, temperatures were pretty much on par. Then we fired up Bloons TD6 and flooded the screen with thousands of units to really stress the CPUs. This time the Edge really struggled, dropping to only 4 FPS while also reaching a higher temperature of 52 degrees Celsius. Moving on from gaming, we exported 99 photos in Lightroom. The Edge actually proved to be the quickest, finishing the export 21 seconds faster than the Plus. Next, we rendered a 3-minute 4K 30fps video in CapCut, and this time the Plus took the lead, finishing the rendering in just 38 seconds, while the Edge finished 7 seconds later. And just for fun, we also opened a massive Microsoft Excel file with over 4 million cells. Once again, the Plus took the win, opening the file in just 11 seconds, 4 seconds faster than the Edge. But now, let's check out some benchmarks. In Geekbench 6, the Plus definitely showed a better performance compared to the Edge in both single and multi-core tests. This comes as a bit of a surprise as both have the exact same processor and RAM. In 3D Mark's Wildlife Extreme stress test, once again, the Plus got a higher score in both the best and lowest loop. This might have to do with the Edge not being able to dissipate heat as well as the Plus, which makes sense given its thinner profile. In Antutu, for the third time, the Plus got the upper hand, and while the Edge is certainly not bad, the difference in scores between them is pretty evident. Lastly, we ran the cross-platform disk check benchmark to measure read and write speeds. This time, as you can see, there were no huge differences between the two of them, since both use UFS 4.0 storage. So as you can see, both phones are absolute beasts when it comes to power. However, the Plus showed a slight but consistent advantage over the Edge, very probably because its heat dissipation works much more efficiently due to that thicker form factor. And just for info, the Edge does come with a vapor chamber, but you simply can't fight physics when it comes to managing heat in such a thin body. Alright, let's dive into software. Both of these phones are running One UI 7 based on Android 15. As for software support, Samsung promises 7 years of both OS and security updates for both devices, which means they should get One UI 8 based on Android 16 pretty soon. Both Galaxies offer pretty much the same software experience. We've got that fresh new look with One UI 7 with new icons and animations, plus that divided notification and settings panel. Thankfully though, if you're not a fan of that, you can easily put it back together. Beyond the aesthetics, you get a bunch of useful features like the Now Brief, which is kind of a throwback to Google Now, giving you personalized info about your day. You also have Samsung Dex to basically turn your phone into a desktop computer, and of course, there are some awesome AI features like generative edit and sketch to image right in the Gallery app to tune up your photos. On top of all this, you also get access to Google Gemini and Circle to Search. However, it goes without saying that they both come with some bloatware, but thankfully, it's pretty easy to uninstall. And now let's move on to our very last category. This is of course where physics play an important role, because the S25 Edge has a rather small 3900 mAh battery while the S25 Plus packs a more standard sized 4900 mAh cell. For wired charging speeds, we also see some differences. The Edge supports only 25 watts while the Plus steps it up with 45 watts. Both also support wireless charging, though this is identical on both at 15 watts. Additionally, both also support wired and wireless reverse charging. In our charging test using a 100 watts charger, the Edge reached a full charge in just 1 hour and 7 minutes, drawing about 19 watts. And finally, let's talk prices, because this is where things get really interesting. The S25 Edge retails for a hefty $1,099 at full price, while the S25 Plus retails for $999. That's a $100 difference between them, and honestly, with that cash, you could buy around 75 liters of Dr. Pepper soda. Putting all the Infinity Stones together, we have two extremely similar phones in terms of specs and software. The only real bigger differences here come down to the in-hand feeling, battery life, and of course, the price. As we said in the beginning, we think the S25 Edge is a really unique phone. However, even though it comes with a flagship processor, it's not really made for power users, especially with its smaller battery. The S25 Plus definitely offers a longer screen on time and, most importantly, a lower price, making it the obvious choice for us for most people. But hey, if you want a super light and ergonomic phone and have the cash to splurge on that premium slimness, then definitely give the S25 Edge a spin. As always, you can find links to these two S25 phones in the description below. And please let us know, would you love a super slim phone if the price wasn't sky high? What do you think? Please drop your thoughts in the comments below. And before you go back to doom scrolling on Instagram, don't forget to give us a big thumbs up and subscribe, as we're always testing new devices to help you make the best choice. We'll see you in our next video, and until then, take care.